chemistry. Welcome to 9.6, pretty similar to 9.5, smaller. A little bit of new stuff though, but 1 to 6, we had this yesterday and we'll continue to have this day after day after day after day. So 1 to 6, we have combination reactions, which is the star of today, decomposition, single replacement, double replacement, neutralization. Explanation that we added on new today for combination is when you have 2 or more substances react and produce 1. Side notes on this, I don't know if I'll ever ask this on a quiz, but this would be like a generic format of a combination reaction. We have one thing plus another thing yielding a single thing. So we have 2 or more substances react to produce 1. Other side note, which may or may not appear on a quiz, is this is called a synthesis reaction sometimes. Don't know if that's going to ever make it, but I'll just drop that word out there. There's also 5 subcategories of combination reactions, some of which will and some of which won't make the quiz. So to highlight what's coming here in the future, one of the 5 is that you can have a metal plus oxygen forming a thing called a metal oxide. That will never be a question because that seems too dumb to be a question, that a metal plus oxygen would be called a metal oxide once you put it together, because it's just a blending of those words. But that was in the book. It's in part of their list of 5. Another one that's too dumb to make a quiz, I think, is that a non-metal plus oxygen produces something called a non-metal oxide. So that's just kind of like repeating the words. That seems sort of silly. Non-metal plus oxygen making non-metal oxide. One that does make the quiz is if you have a metal plus a non-metal, that makes a salt. We have had that before and it's back again, and that will be a question on the next quiz. Metal plus non-metal makes salt. So something like metal plus non-metal makes salt. I believe we've seen that exact format before on a test. We had a test we were identifying acid, base, or salt. So non-metals, metals plus non-metals make salts. Positive that that's going to make it. Another thing that appears is on the next quiz, it'll ask how a base gets formed. So that is a water plus a metal oxide. So waters plus metal oxides make bases. You might remember having seen this before on an old test. So we have a metal plus, that's called hydroxide, we know that, but the way this question will be phrased, you're looking to say a metal, if we have water plus a metal oxide, that's one way we're going to get a base. So it's a little different than what we had before. Last thing of the 5, and this does make the quiz, the question will be, how is an oxyacid formed? That's a non-metal, water plus a non-metal oxide. So I'll run those questions back in a second, but there's 5 subcategories of combination. 7, we have combustion. So if you want to underline the word oxygen and the word burning, combustion, you have to have oxygen to have combustion, otherwise known as burning. If you don't have oxygen, things don't really burn very well. 8 is a thing called a basic oxide, also called a basic anhydride. But I'm not sure why you would willingly choose to use the word anhydride if you could use the word oxide. But basic oxide, again, underlined for number 8 for study purposes, it's metal oxides with waters. And that was one of the 5 things I just said a minute ago. When we have metal oxides with waters, they form a base. That's called a basic oxide. 9 was based on one of the 5 things too that I said a minute ago. Acid oxide is probably your best answer, otherwise known as acid anhydride, but I'm not sure why you would say anhydride if you could just say oxide. You could underline the part about non-metal oxide reacts with water. That's what we're going to need to that's our new ones. So 1 to 6 was our old 5, 7 was combustion, 8 was basic oxide preferably, 9 is acid oxide preferably. Run back on that, good. So 10 to 15, then we've got just our old stuff coming back to us. So we have reactants, that is the substances that interact with each other, and they're on the left in the equation. Products are the substances formed, those are on the right in the equation. I didn't get real picky about this in grading the 9-5 quiz, but I'm having a flashback to I usually do get picky about this. To not just say left or right, but say left in the equation or right in the equation, because I would suppose a dumb person might think that they're actually like on your left hand in the lab on the table or in the cabinet or something, and that's not at all what we want to say. But the reactants are on the left in the equation. The products are on the right in the equation. So this is the reactants. Those are the products relative to the arrow in the equation. Reactants on the left, products on the right. Products, if I didn't say it while I was ranting about that, were the substances formed. Those were on the right in the equation. If you don't say in the equation today, I don't care. But next time we do a quiz 9-7, I'll be a little bit fussy about that in the equation phrase on rights and lefts. Catalysts, they speed up the reaction and are recovered unchanged at the end. You could also say increase the rate of the reaction, because that's a synonym phrase for speeding up. Separators, we have arrows, separate reactant from product, and feel free to just write R for reactant and P for product to abbreviate this question a little bit. The plus would separate the R's from the R's and the P's from the P's. Separate reactants from reactants, products from product. 26 is gas, liquid, solid, and then the last you want to have 2 words for aqueous solution. Don't just say aqueous, say aqueous solution. Triangle is heat needed, symbol is a catalyst, and then the 6 guidelines don't have to be in order, but the order they say them is probably the best order. So have correct formulas for reactants and products, pick an element you want to balance, balance the polyatomic ion, balance the H's and O's, coefficients have to be simplest whole number ratio, and then we check. Anything about 9-6? Good. Okay. So here's where we are homework. Like, if you haven't yet taken on the 4 to 7, you want to move on that and move on that fast. If you haven't looked at it, it isn't 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 problems. It's like A through J. So it's like 4 through 7, 4 problems is really 40. Balancing like a million equations. Then yesterday there was nothing new, so hopefully the 4 to 7 is either done or getting close by now. What's coming on now is a 2-fold project. The new assignment's number 8. Number 8 will stand alone as a homework, including 1 F through I. But number 8 is an A to J. It is 10 balancing equations, like what I'm about to do here for practice. I'll do 2. Number 8, you'll do 10. That's going to be an easier homework, relatively speaking. Balance this. What do you want to hit up first?
The GA.
Okay, GAs. How can I fix that?
2.
The 2 over there. So I got 2 GAs. I got 2 GAs, and we're in good shape. But I'm missing. I'm missing something there. What did I copy wrong? Yeah, because it has to be 2 things becoming 1. So, H2O. There I go. That works out. So we fixed the galliums. Then where are you looking?
The O's.
O's. So I got 3 O's.
4.
That makes a 4th O.
3 there.
That's got 3 there. No, this actually has. This doesn't have 3 O's.
Oh, it is 6.
We've got 6 O's. So to step over here, and get the 6 O's.
3 with the H-O.
3 with the
H2O,
H2O.
And then that balances everything.
And then that balanced everything. So we've got 6 H's there, and this has 6 H's there, and we're good. Those H's, everything's good. Go again. Where do you want to hit this one?
The P.
Go P's, because we usually go H's, O's later. So balancing P's. 4 there. So that balances the P's. I would usually probably do, if one of them's odd, I would just leave that and see if it'll fix itself.
Yeah.
I would take on anything that had naturally an even number. So I'd hit up the H's
The
here
H.
first.
Was that a 6 with the H on the left?
Yeah, there'd be a 6 there, because 4 times 3 makes 12 H's, 6 times 2 makes 12 H's, and hopefully by
And then
doing
the
that,
O's balance.
the O's might have balanced already. So I'd work the even ones and hope the odds just self-correct.
Yeah.
But 12 and 6, 16. 4 times 4 is 16. We're balanced. That's what we're hitting up today for number 8, along with the I and J. Then another project that you could begin, that a wise student will do this in portions. A foolish student will do this in a wad and regret that choice later. Someday, there's going to be due a 13 through 17. It's down the line. But 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 is not 5 questions based on their pattern. It's actually,
Like 70.
yeah, like, I think it's 10 burger, but so I think we're going to be 50 on that. So 13 to 17 is going to be like 50 things like this. They're going to ask you to do 2 things. 1, identify what type it is. There's 5 types. We only really are good at 1 type so far. But they'll ask you, identify what type it is, and then balance it. So what made the combinations be a combination today? How can you spot it?
2 things becoming 1.
2 or more things over here, and only 1 on the right side of the arrow. So if you go through 13 to 17, like tonight, out of the 50 of them, there's probably like 10 that are combination reactions. So a smart person would go through tonight, lay out their 13 to 17, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, skim through, and every problem tonight that you see an arrow with 1 thing on the right in 13 to 17, just write combination and balance it. And that's not going to take you very long. But if you wait until they're all done and you have to analyze every single one, that's going to take you a long time to do 50 of those problems. So a smart person would start to chip away on the 13 to 17. Now, all of the ones that are combination, write combination and balance it, and then come back tomorrow and do another session. But that's all going to come due in a big wad fast, and that's going to be a painful day if you put that off. You do you. All I can do is give you best practices kind of advice. 9-7 is the next quiz up. So 9-7 preview of this would be, you'll name the 5 simple types again, but then you're going to have to explain 2 of them. So we'd explain combination again. 2 or more substances react to produce 1. But then in the reading of 9-7, they're going to introduce you to a new friend. The 9-7 reading is probably shorter. It's shorter in facts than the 9-6 reading. It might be longer in text. Yeah, it's a little bit longer for how much text there is to read, but it's shorter for how many questions that come out of this. There's only going to be 1 other question from 9-7 that's like a short answery kind of question. Such a short answer, it could have been a fill-in. I just didn't do it fill-in style. So 2 new points, 1 obvious one to join the list, the other one is just there. Then, compared to today's, name and describe for number 10. From that to the bottom, just keep all the way through the 6 guidelines. So, then new questions. The key element for combustion from the periodic table, the theory, your key element for combustion, oxygen. So that's a question for next time. Key element for combustion is oxygen is needed. Combustion is also called what? That answer is burning. So that's a new-ish question. Combustion also called burning. And then the three questions I already described. How is a base formed? You'd say water plus a metal oxide. I'd say, how is an oxyacid formed? And you would say water plus non-metal oxide. And I'd say, how is a salt formed? You'd say metal plus non-metal. And those questions aren't necessarily in the order that I read them, but if it's 2026, because you're at home, I've given you a study sheet so you can see the exact questions in the exact order for 9-7. Once you send me a picture of the old one, and then I send you the email with this new information anyway, that tips you off. I think that's about it. If anybody's having trouble with the 4 to 7, send me an email or something, and I can next video do some stuff with the 4 to 7. 4 and 5 are easier because they wrote the equation for you. 6 and 7 is harder because you have to write the equation yourself and then still balance it after that. If you find yourself not able to balance the equation you wrote, you probably wrote the wrong equation is your issue. So if you find any of this number 6, number 7 problems hard to balance on 6 and 7, then you probably wrote it wrong.
I'm turning the camera off after that.
Yeah, it had to be done. It was 6. It was 7.
No,
it's the thing.
no,
it's the
no,
theme,
no,
it's
it's
the way
not.
life goes.
No, it's not.
It's going to warm everybody's hearts at home in the middle of all this cold. That's a wrap.
It needs to die.